The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. Tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy. You are listening to Canary Crime News Talk.
You're listening to Canary Crime News Talk. Today is October 1st, 2025. We are live to tape on episode 881, and today, the final shutdown. And signing on from Off the Grid, Razzle Dazzle, I'm your best buddy Basil, and you are not crazy.
And my name is Gonz, at Face Like the Sun, director of the Age of Deceit films, your favorite Asian provocateur for Christ. Live to tape from the metaverse to bring you the best news, which is the gospel message of Jesus Christ, while reporting the egregious with a well-rounded, biblically grounded take on world events. It is Wednesday, my dudes.
It is Wednesday, my dudes. Wednesday.
And it's time to sing happy birthday to MI6. That's
Woo!
right. The founding day of MI6. It was way back in October of 1909. Mansfield Cummings was chosen to be the lead for the foreign section of the newly formed Secret Service Bureau.
In it.
And the MI6 was born. It was October 1st, 2025. Blaise Metrowelli is scheduled to take over as the 18th chief of the Secret Intelligence Service, succeeding Sir Richard Moore. Step aside, Sir Richard Moore. It's time for Blaise Metrowelli.
Oi! Oi, it's the MI6, innit?
In it.
Man,
Yeah.
it's actually fair. I was having fun with you for a second, then I got very sad about the recent news that Keir Starmer, who is basically getting thrown out of government. I mean, nobody likes him. He knows this is a horrible situation in the UK. But to fix that, his big plan to get everybody back on his side is to come out and announce that they are officially, voluntarily making a mandatory, free of charge digital ID. Just
I love the
God.
mandatory optional, or whatever he called it. Optional mandatory biometrics to
mandatory,
buy or sell.
voluntary, free of charge digital ID, CBDC, Big Brother. It's crazy. It's the thing I love about it, though. I don't know. We could grab a clip if we want. That did come out the other day, but it's finally occurring to him. And, you talk to some UK people, or you kind of watch what's going on over there. It's worse than ever. I mean, video after video of people getting, 7 years prison for a Facebook post, or having their doors knocked in and police show up because recent one, some child viewed a Facebook post and got a visit from the police to the mother, who simply viewed it. I don't even think she engaged with it or liked it. Maybe she did. I don't know. But from what I see, it just continues getting worse over there. Now, of course, there's big movements, big marches, big things going on. But the timing is just impeccable with old Keir Starmer over there. Finally admits that, okay, fine. If you want to slow down immigration, what we need to do is have this mandatory digital ID. So sorry, UK folks, we're rooting for you. We really are. Nothing's for sure. Nothing's permanent, but goodness gracious, what a day to celebrate the creation of MI6. The UK, for those who don't know or who have never seen, like a James Bond movie or something, that's the UK's version of the CIA. So,
Yep.
Cheerio.
Congratulations, UK! You've made it. 117 years of the MI6. Great job, guys. Meanwhile, in America,
it's the final shutdown, baby.
Final shutdown.
Shut it down.
What are we doing? This clip
We
here?
Yeah, we are day one of the shutdown of the United States government again.
Oh, no.
This is like the third or fourth time since COVID, I think. So, but the media has an opportunity to really crank things up. And of course, fascism, fascism, everybody. This is what we're scared of. And, you start looking, we kind of touched on it last episode a little bit when it comes to the timing of everything that's going on. The DOGE retirement plan, having its deadline yesterday. We've got economic reports due. We've got lots of things that are supposed to happen right about now, but the shutdown is perfectly timed for a lot of reasons. And of course, we don't need to tell you guys this, but it's looking like a very elegantly well played out script from both the left and the right to take us in to that beautiful technocratic dystopia. But here's a clip on Fox about what can happen now.
I mean, estimate for us, give us some ballpark numbers here. We've already had some sizable reductions in force. Actually, there's a number 300,000 floating around for this calendar year. That may or may not be the right number, but that number is floating around. Now, if there's a budget shutdown, as our own chat program suggested, almost ineluctably will be a budget shutdown, then you have the authority to reduce the federal employee count by roughly how much?
Well, I'm going to let those kinds of questions extend until tomorrow and the days after. Right now, where we are, we have hours to go before a government shutdown, and it can be avoided. And then we'll get in tomorrow. The preparation is all done. We have many options, but we're going to get in tomorrow and see where we are, and we're going to manage this shutdown and try to keep the American people from the havoc that the Democrats have caused on with their crazy demands. But let it be said, there are all manner of authorities to be able to keep this administration's policy agenda moving forward, and that includes reducing the size and scope of the federal government, and we will be looking for opportunities to do that.
And you've made that very clear to Mr. Schumer. It doesn't seem to move him, Russ Vogt. That's what I don't understand. It will be worse. I mean, if I were he, and I'm most certainly not, but if I were he, I would want a continuing resolution and discuss all this stuff. I wouldn't want to hand the circular over to you, and he'll have to take some measures that he's not going to like one darn bit.
Well, I think he's got some time over the next several hours to come back from the brink, to work with his moderates to get a continuing resolution passed. We'll see how these votes come up, and then we'll see where we are in the morning.
We'll see how it goes. They
shut down.
They didn't do it. It didn't work out. Now, at the least, the basic narrative of this shutdown is, of course, we needed another continuing resolution. We shouldn't be running on continuing resolutions anyways. This is a phenomenon. We go over this every, government shutdown, but just in case anybody is new to this sort of excitement, CRs, continuing resolutions, is a new thing. It started after 9/11. It was a part of this sort of Patriot Act era where Congress doesn't actually really make a budget. What they do is they say, okay, let's just go with the budget from last year. We'll add some stuff on top. And this has caused all sorts of problems, all sorts of fraud, all sorts of waste and abuse. And, it's sort of this fake budget that is simply thrown in there in this emergency situation every year. This is why we have these, or every couple of years, the government shuts down because we need this like emergency situation where if we don't just pass it, if we just don't, we gotta do it. Everybody will die if we don't continue this sort of corrupt, awful version of how we fund our country, letting Congress off the hook for all the money that gets spent, et cetera, et cetera. Well, the narrative for this shutdown is that the Democrats didn't want to make a deal because they are insisting on what they call Medicare for all, or health care for all, which includes the detail, healthcare for all illegal immigrants, which the Republicans have finally, for once, sort of put their foot down and said, nope, it's a non-starter. We're not doing it. And so that creates an impasse, which creates the shutdown. So you've got this sort of beautifully laid out, elegant dance between the two wings of the same bird to sort of conjure up this theater for a government shutdown. And all the Democrats really had to do was just say, okay, you got us, not for illegal migrants, which no, not regular Democrats, like you're just regular default run-of-the-mill liberal person, doesn't want healthcare for illegal immigrants anyways. You know, it's like it's another one of these 80-20 issues where 80% of even Democrats are like, okay, we don't need to do that anymore. It's fine. Let's just keep the government alive. But Democratic leadership and Republican leadership seem to have a plan. And that plan, of course, as we know here, we must take as an axiom, is to get us towards the technocratic dystopian future where the government has sort of all the authority it could possibly want, is powered by AI, quantum computing, and then we all get, oh, thank God, a free, no cost digital ID that can sort of control the thing.
Especially because recently, and I've been making this call out since the beginning of the whole Stablecoin Act and everything else, saying that, hey, this is just a CBDC in disguise. And recently, I think one of the bigger companies, maybe it was Circle or Square, I don't know, one of them shapes, came out. By the time it's triangle, it's too late, right? It's like the all-seeing-eye triangle. But they came out and said, we're thinking about allowing reverse transactions on your stable coins. And it's like, well, that is the thing. I mean, if you can reverse a crypto transaction, it completely defeats the purpose of having a blockchain to run money. But anyway, yeah, this is look at this. The Democrats and Republicans working together behind closed doors.
They always
things
are.
Look at that. Look at that. It's more partisan than you were being led to believe by the public here.
So in this clip, he kind of says the part out loud, which again is supposed to scare Democrats, not Democrat leadership, because of course Democrat leadership created this situation, but it's supposed to scare Democrats to know that actually when there is a government shutdown, the executive branch of the government becomes significantly more powerful.
Yeah, they turned it into a totalitarian, authoritarian, fascist government. This is exactly what they're afraid of.
It kind of gives this emergency power to the executive branch to kind of act unilaterally when it comes to things that he normally can't touch. Normally, the president cannot touch, federal agencies. He cannot touch budgeting. He can't fire people. He can't do these things because that's under Congress, who controls the purse. But if Congress shuts down the government, then it kind of goes as emergency power, where now Trump can pretty much unilaterally fire anyone he wants.
Is he going to fire Jerome Powell? Is this going to be a thing? Can he do that?
That counts. I don't know if that counts. However, part of what's going on is the federal courts also shut down. So a bunch of the lawsuits that are being brought against Trump for the National Guard deployment, the ICE deployments, the deportations, all these federal, processes get either stopped completely or significantly slowed down, during which has the authority to just kind of keep doing whatever he needs to do. There's that big hullabaloo about the 100,000 federal workers all quitting at the same time, sort of being presented as this like act of defiance against the fascists, when really it's just they're retiring. They're taking the retirement benefits that was given to them back in April. Thank you to Pie Daddy for reposting the stream over on X. Appreciate that. So we're in this position right now where not only did we just lose 100,000 federal basically retirees, but this does open up the Trump administration and its various sort of tendrils to really get in there and start hacking away and making some cuts. Which, has, depending who you are, you're either kind of excited about or terrified as fascism, authoritarianism.
If you're going to call out people that reposted the show right now, one lousy Petunia also quote tweeted, which is even better than just a
Even
retweet.
better.
So
Thank you very
thank
much
you for all the
Lousy
people
Petunia.
interacting on X. Yeah, I mean, the last time there was a government, like a legit government shutdown, what was it, 2019, 2018, something like that? It was like a
Well, what do you mean?
35-day shutdown.
What are you counting as a shutdown?
Like an
Because
official, quote unquote, official shutdown. Because during COVID, there were a bunch of times where they threatened shutdown, but they didn't like officially shut it down the way
it's
they.
always a threat. Yeah,
Yeah,
every
the threat
time
is always there.
right,
but
right. It's every time it's time to re-up the continuing resolution, which means rob the American people for sort of no discernible reason. Yes, the shutdown thing is always threatened. It's funny because it doesn't feel like it was 7 years ago was the last shutdown. It literally feels like 2
Well,
years.
I mean, the world shut down between between then
That's
and
a good
now.
point.
So the government shutdown seems like nothing compared to the world shutting down. But yeah, this is going to be ongoing, I would imagine. And the things that are not being discussed publicly, I guess that's where we're sort of trying to pay attention, because you think about the history of bad policy in America. It always happens post some kind of traumatic event, and also when nobody's paying attention. Think about the Federal Reserve in general. What was it, Christmas Eve or something? They voted on that when in the after hours after everybody left for vacation. So, government shut down, but just kind of try to keep your head on a swivel. Make sure they're not doing any hanky-panky. And not that we're going to be able to change it per se, but,
Now, just in
always
case
interesting.
there's anybody out there who is sort of, being hit with some fear, a lot of federal agencies, they have contingency plans for shutdowns. So in their budget, they have a certain amount of days. Thank God the IRS has a 5-day contingency. So don't worry, everybody.
Oh,
The IRS is going to keep going for 5 days.
Oh, great.
Part of the hullabaloo about shutdowns, mostly on the Democrat side, is they talk about, the postal service won't work, the military won't get paid. Everybody ends up getting paid, for the time that they work. It's just sort of gets taken care of.
Track your hours, you'll be
Comes out in the
fine.
wash, but not if you get fired during it. We'll see what kind of hacking away the Trump administration takes. And again, just to disclaim, I also want to be sensitive or sympathize with any of our listeners who are federal employees. And if you do get fired, I'm sorry. That's bad. It's not fun to lose your job. For non-government workers, hearing about the government work, it's almost impossible to get fired if you work for the government. You get all these nice things. You get the pensions, you get the holidays. It's a good gig if you work for the government, which does kind of play a factor in people's responses to federal workers losing their jobs, because to be honest, a lot of people are jealous of the government jobs. If you land a government job, you're pretty much set for life. Not that you're going to be a millionaire or billionaire, but the paychecks always arrive on time and you can't get fired for stupid stuff. So it's easy to lose sympathy for federal workers. So,
well, especially because most people are 81%, according to this Reuters headline. They have the furloughs, which is temporary unpaid leave of absence from work. So you go on a little vacation, you're still getting paid. So extra hard to be sympathetic.
You said unpaid. You said furlough is unpaid, but furloughs are paid, aren't they?
Unpaid leave of absence from work.
Yeah. Well, there you go. You get an unpaid vacation, which, again, normal people don't get paid for their vacations. But these government workers, they usually get paid for their vacation.
What is a vacation?
Have you ever had a job where you get paid vacation?
No.
You don't even understand the concept, do you?
No, I don't. I don't even know what first of all, I don't know what a vacation is. Second of all, I mean, I've had jobs where they have I forget what they're called, like basically sick time available. Like if you're sick or you got something going on.
Sick days or sick days.
Sick
personal
days, yeah.
Days, you get personal days.
But not paid vacation.
Paid vacation's different. There's sort of our UK and Europe listeners are like, yeah, what? You don't get 3 months paid vacation every year? That's a
What?
foreign concept over here.
Yeah.
Anywho, I don't know why we got off on that, but just a couple of notes here. The FCC, the Federal Communications Commission, which is notable because this was the institution that was getting blamed for Jimmy Kimmel, getting fired or whatever. FCC suspends most normal operations, furloughs 81% of staff. Which they have, let's see here, it has furloughed 1,044 employees and suspended most normal operations after a lapse in U.S. government funding. The U.S. telecommunications regulator said it will stop answering consumer complaint and inquiry lines. Oh no, we can't complain about Jimmy Kimmel. Halt consumer protection and local competition enforcement, as well as ceasing licensing services, including broadcast, wireless, and wireline, meaning nobody can open up a brand new TV station right now. So sorry for everybody who is doing that. Now, of course, yeah.
I was going to say the FCC, what are they giving away kind of their numbers? 1,200, almost 1,300 employees for the FCC. I guess that makes sense. Does every government entity like this have about 1,000 employees? 1,000.
Well, the IRS has like 80,000.
Well, I know the IRS, yeah, because they went on a hiring spree under Biden with training them to.
1,300 is way too many for the FCC.
I was gonna say it is. It feels like a lot. What are you doing? And yeah,
most of them are just answering phones and stuff. I mean, I don't know, whatever.
Well,
at the same time, we know what's going on here. The idea has always been, since the beginning of the Trump administration, to shrink the federal government, to get rid of the warm bodies in the buildings and replace them, of course, with AI. We're over here at, what is this?
This is Washington Post. This is from July. So this is a throwback just to kind of show, because there aren't any headlines or anything explicit saying that, hey, during this shutdown, we're releasing some AI to, maintain government operations or something. That's not, number one, being reported. Number two, I don't know if they're technically doing that, although I'm sure simulations have been run,
that's
Basil.
the weird thing, right? That's part of the narrative not being told here is since the beginning of the Trump administration, it has been the mission to get rid of government workers. There's 2 million of them in total. They want to cut that by a lot. I mean, with the recent DOGE retirements and the amount of furloughs so far, we're sitting at about 850,000 federal employees not going to work this week, which cuts the government in basically half. In the amount of a couple days. Again, unfortunately, IRS fully staffed for 5 days.
Of course, yeah. Well, there's something to be said about the IRS. The human capital there, it makes things go a lot slower. But this headline from Washington Post back in July: DOGE, that's the Department of Government Efficiency, builds AI tools to cut 50% of federal regulations. An internal proposal suggests how the Trump administration is planning to slash federal regulation, but obstacles loom. And this is a great opportunity to stress test some AI, maybe not publicly, but at least in the back end, to be like, okay, how much can our AI systems really run if half the people just decide to walk out, or, we cut the jobs, whatever it may be? Because if your job for DOGE, if their mission is government efficiency, hey, look, it's the same argument, Basil. AI is not going to sleep. They're not going to complain. They're not going to want vacation. There's no furloughs for AI. They're just going to keep working. They're going to keep working. And I bet you it will make things more efficient. The government is extremely slow as a feature, not a thing. Exactly. It's a feature.
The government to be more efficient. That's bad.
I know. It's a feature, not a bug. But it's just interesting how it's not. I've noticed a couple people mention the aspect of AI in all of this, but not enough. I think most people are just kind of stuck in the political.
It's the untold narrative. It's the untold narrative in the mainstream, which is there's a secret underlying implication as to what's going on, but it is sort of deafening the silence that the mainstream has on the AI issue right now, which, that it's all very well orchestrated, right? That the mainstream media is not here in opposition to the establishment. Everything they do and report on is ultimately serving, the final shutdown or whatever.
Well, I actually, I was imagining this moment here, and we'll see how long the shutdown goes, whether it's a week or 35 days as it was back in 2018. But one of these days, I can imagine a shutdown that is very much reminiscent of what we had with COVID. 2 weeks for new policy, just 2 weeks, guys, 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And then slowly implement AI. And after about a month, people are like, well, things are running okay. In fact, they're running better. We said 2 weeks to whatever, I don't know, flatten
slow the spread, flatten the curve.
Flatten the curve. Yeah, all that stuff for COVID, but for government, maybe, I don't know, new policies or whatever, new negotiations. But now, AI got in there, found a really happy, a win-win medium, wrote a contract up for everything, and we don't even need the people back. AI is kind of doing a good job handling everything, and on we go. We're in the golden age with AI running governments. No longer do we have Chuck Schumer up there, meandering around and proposing ridiculous policies.
A couple things that are making the timing of this very interesting because of the shutdown. The DC federal courts have pumped the brakes on Trump policy legal fights amid shutdown. So you're talking, the ICE court battles, the deportations, all these sorts of things. But pretty much every step that Trump has taken over the past 6 months is being challenged in court. All of those get slowed down or put off or whatever, it basically indefinitely until the government gets back up and running. There was with the government shutdown, the jobs report for September is going to be pushed off, and that's an issue because of course jobs in August, the job numbers were not good. Now, there's a couple of different angles on that. Of course, the Trump administration stopped including government jobs in the jobs report because previously that's a good way for the U.S. government to hide bad jobs numbers. Is they go, oh no, we're down 20,000 jobs from last month. Okay, well, let's make the IRS hire 20,000 people. There we go. We can fix the jobs numbers using federal jobs as a valve for this, right? Well, that was all part of DOGE, all part of the change was not counting federal jobs towards the jobs numbers. And so, you're looking at decreases in jobs at the same time, that the government's shutting down, so they can't post the jobs numbers at the same time that they're cutting, who knows how many jobs.
Yeah, because the job numbers were, they're revising some of the job numbers from August or something.
They always do.
They always do. There's like a 3 or 4 week delay, and it's always like, hey, look at the jobs, they look great. And then like 3 weeks later, they're like, oh, sorry, we were off by 70%. We're actually behind on all that.
89% of the EPA has been furloughed.
Hey, EPA, shut it down.
Of the EPA, which has its own sort of craziness going on right now, due to Trump kind of coming in, messing stuff around. Right. So there's a lot of these economic related reports, institutions, we're right in the middle of a tariff battle again. All these things happening, and it all kind of gets put on pause during a government shutdown like this.
I was looking up some other governments around the world that are using AI, and we just reported on Albania recently, maybe a couple weeks ago. Diela, the AI minister that does some, it was meant to curb corruption. That's kind of how they presented it. Qatar recently signed a 5-year deal with Scale AI. Remember Scale? Mm-hmm. And they're using it for efficiency and data optimization. Romania is using AI and robotics to assist farmers applying for EU funds. So that's kind of interesting. Germany also using AI to reduce red tape and faster processing for visas and vehicle registrations, medical licensing, all that kind of stuff. It's really, the UK is really, they're the Middle East and the UK already implementing some of this, or not UK, but Europe, with the UK specifically also doing the fraud risk assessment accelerator. It's to protect taxpayer funds and to defer fraud. So AI is already creeping into governments across the pond. And of course we are too. I just don't, it's not being talked about. And I would imagine this is like the greatest question. If we had a seat in the White House press thing that we applied for, we did not hear a response. That's what I would ask. I would say, hey, what kind of AIs are, if at all, are being used to analyze this government shutdown or to assist in it or whatever. But
and that's why we don't get our seats.
That's why we don't get the
White House
press passes.
Okay. Well, we've got some big technocracy news coming up here. Before we jump into that, I want to thank one of our executive producers, Gons.
Yes.
We're going to thank, of course, the one. You know what? Let's thank producer. Where's my tab here? Producer Trevor G. Thank you very much.
Trevor G.
Executive producer Trevor G. coming in helping out with this.
He's a true G. That's what I'm going to say. Trevor G, the true G.
That's right. Now
G.
I want to also thank everybody who joined the Canary Cry text message alert system. I highly recommend everybody do this if you want to separate yourself from reliance on the YouTube algorithms, the YouTube establishment. They tell us outright they only send 2% of our subscribers a notification when we go live. Which we always get lots of messages. Didn't get the notification. We actually did go live yesterday for an experimental 30-minute show, and we got a lot of people who said, "Oh my gosh, I didn't get a notification. I didn't know you were going." We also did not send out the email or the text message list.
It was an experiment.
Who's
paying attention?
Those of you who saw it, if you enjoyed the sort of shorter little segment, we weren't trying to replace the show, but trying out a little bit more of a segmented stream. We'll see how that goes. But if you want to make sure to never miss a show, here's what you do. You take out your phone, you open the text messages, and you text the word Canary to 877-740-3226. Again, you have to text the word Canary to 877-740-3226, and we'll send you a text before we go live throughout the week. So, if you miss a show, it's because you actually wanted to or needed to, not because the demonic algorithm, little g gods, the little Elohim decided not to let you connect, not only with the show and not only with truth and other believers in Christ, but with other Canarians. Fun part is you can text us back at that number if you get the chance. So send me a text. I see them all. I read them all. I can't answer you because it's expensive for us to text you individually. But you can text us back at that number. Like 287. 267. I have to read 267's number for no reason, picking this at total random, Gons.
Okay.
Says, Basil, has anyone ever told you that you are very good at podcasting? It's your flawless ranting that makes other people able to think their own thoughts and keep you almost as white noise in the background. That's the nicest insult I've ever gotten. Thank you very much, 267, for that.
Basil, your camera is very torso-centric right now.
Oh, look at that.
We're missing part of your head.
Yeah, I can't even see it. Here, let's go like this. Oh, come on. I must have kicked a cord. Oh, yeah. Yes,
the
I did.
world is shaking.
Here you go.
The government shut down. The world is shaking.
You're welcome, 267, for creating the white noise for you to think your own thoughts, okay? That's what we're trying to do here, is to get you guys to think for yourself.
We are trying to get you guys to think for yourselves.
We got a producer request here from Sir Tristan, so let's go ahead.
Producers.
Yeah.
Producers, assemble!
Says producer Sir Tristan here. Still would appreciate prayers for for myself and my wife Katrina. Much love to the Canary. Thank you very much, Sir Tristan. And yes, anybody out there with the ability to pray, it's time to do your job. Produce the show spiritually, and we're praying for Sir Tristan and his wife there.
Yep.
One last one. 210 says shout out to my wife who loves the show. Big old shout out.
Shout out to the wife.
Wife of 210 who loves the show. Thanks.
Wife of 210. All the wives. Shout out to all the wives.
So there you go.
Actually doing a Bible study, and very interesting Bible study between men and women and influence and authority. Good study if anybody wants to get in there.
There you go.
Find out the role of men and women in the biblical context, which it's not as different as I thought. You know, we kind of go at it like, oh, men, but it's not as different as I thought. So
no, it's a subtle, nuanced, and godly conversation. So there you go, everybody. Take out your phone, text the word Canary to 877-740-3226, and get on the alert system.
Real quick, Basil, because of the text message system being a system for people that, you know, if they don't get notifications from places like YouTube, I do just want to remind everybody that Trump did obtain another settlement from YouTube. YouTube agreed to pay Trump $24.5 million for censoring his channel. And I just want to know where my...
It feels like there should be an opportunity here because...
class action kind of deal?
Losing our channels 2 weeks from each other in 2001 with the momentum that we had, the viewership that we had, the subscribers that we had, losing that right in our prime. I mean, there's some serious financial recompense, to be had for that. So we'll keep an eye out.
I mean, I'll take 0.001% of this, which is what, like $240. I'll take that, you know.
Of what? Oh, of
the $24.5 million that Trump is pocketing from the censorship.
I think you can get a little bit more than that. I think shoot for the moon, guns, land amongst the stars. All right, time for the next segment here. A little update on some nuclear energy and Bill Gates and moving into the new age.
Bill Gates.
The super painful. We're taking things that are genetically modified organisms, and we're injecting them in little kids' arms. We just shoot them right into the vein, We will launch a new age.
This is coming from Yahoo, mirroring TCD, and the headline here: Bill Gates backed company moves to build new age nuclear reactor on U.S. site. Quote, today marks an important step forward. Bill Gates was also in the news recently for leaning into his philanthropy, saying that he's going to give away all of his $200 billion of wealth. And people are saying, there was a couple headlines from it, like, oh, why is Bill Gates falling down the list of world's richest men? And all this kind of stuff. I wonder if this is his out. He's like, I'd rather give away all the money than like get taken down with like my reputation, which, is already pretty bad. But here we go. It says a company backed by Bill Gates has signed a memorandum of understanding with the Utah Office of Energy Development. Utah, man. Utah's getting taken over. And land developer flagship companies to find a potential site for a nuclear reactor. According to Interesting Engineering, TerraPower is currently looking for land to build a nuclear reactor and energy storage plant in Utah. I wonder if it's to power the Utah data center. The current aim is to come up with a preliminary list of suitable sites for the 354 megawatt natrium reactor by the end of the year. Quote, today marks an important step forward for energy in Utah, said Governor Spencer J. Cox, per Interesting Engineering. The development of the reactor will support the governor's Operation Gigawatt, which involves plans to build an energy ecosystem that will provide power to Utah and other states in the western United States. Nuclear reactors work by generating energy through nuclear fission. We know about that. Nuclear energy is cleaner, yada, yada, yada. On the plus side, energy produced this way has low planet warming emissions. New nuclear technologies, such as small modular reactors and advanced fuel cycles, are offering promising ways to deliver safer, more efficient, and power-flexible low-carbon energy. While challenges remain in making technologies viable, SMRs, which are small modular reactors, notably have faced criticism for coming with similar safety concerns to large reactors. It's encouraging to see these advancements in combination with those made in renewable energy sectors such as solar, wind, and hydro. And yeah, so small modular reactors, Basil, you and I have talked about this, and there's some Canarians out there doing some boots on the ground research has made me aware anyway of the idea of the small modular reactors potentially being the next phase of power generation when it comes to a more, maybe not fully decentralized, but certainly a more distributed type of energy system. We obviously know Texas already has their own energy grid going, and it seems like a lot of the tensions, especially geopolitically, has to do with gathering the resources to facilitate this upgrade in energy infrastructure. And
Yeah,
small
what we're
modular
seeing
reactors.
in Venezuela, in Brazil, of course, there's the obvious things like lithium and cobalt and stuff like that. But also one we've been following on Clubhouse for a while, antimony, sort of more esoteric rare earth mineral, but one that's very important and seems to be a reason for a lot of the geopolitics we're seeing going on now in the past couple years.
Yeah.
The Utah, you mentioned Utah, just one moment here. Of course, this is the Bill Gates, sort of small modular reactor thing here. And, the question of Utah, why Utah? I mean, we were asking the same question back in 2012, which had the largest data center before sort of AI became what it was, the Utah data center. But there are multiple now nuclear, not just nuclear reactor proposals, but also more Utah AI data centers from, the exact people you'd expect. World's largest data center campus could be coming to central Utah. This was in August. Utah's $2 billion AI data center, a new era in high-tech infrastructure. Something about Utah, baby. It's going to be the ground zero for AI data centers as well as nuclear power. And especially, you ask, of course, in this article you're looking at, they say like, oh, we're going to make it a center for power for our state and the rest of the states. Everybody will get power. It's so cheap. It'll change the world. Well, the reality is especially these small modular reactors, they're going to be hooked up directly to the AI data centers, and they've already presented the idea that they actually want to give the AI in those data centers control of their own nuclear reactors. Just straight up Skynet,
Sounds like a good plan. And the nations around the world that are already deep into development of SMRs and deployed them, interestingly enough, Russia, China, two of the biggest nations out there already. China already has theirs built. They have one. They have a reactor called the Linglong Number 1. Linglong Number 1. It's a commercial onshore SMR. So they've already got stuff going. Russia's got stuff going. Which a lot of I think putting this frame of mind in looking at all geopolitics will help people understand like what's actually going on with the resource war, to get all the resources to actually fund or help create the infrastructure for, the fourth industrial revolution that we're in right now, especially to power AI, because AI requires a lot of energy, it turns out. And it also has to do with creating a more robust cyber system in general to facilitate all the monetary needs, Basil, upcoming with blockchains and crypto and all that kind of stuff. So a lot of mining and just maintaining data centers and all that might move towards the SMRs. And, I would like to imagine a world, Basil, when the SMR, because, even though SMRs are, they're smaller, they're more efficient or whatever, they're still going to be controlled behind, gatekeepers and centralized companies and governments and stuff like that. It would be cool if there's a SMR product that can just be run by anybody, like just people can just run it themselves. Like I can just make my own SMR to run my house. That's going to be true.
I don't know about
Sovereignty,
make it.
Basil.
Maybe you can purchase it. I
Yeah,
would
purchase.
know.
Well, yeah, probably not make it, but
Anybody building their own nuclear reactor, although it's not unheard of. Guys kind of get busted for this every so often. Apparently, it's not that hard to build your own small nuclear reactor, but you do need to obtain an illegal amount of nuclear fuel, usually from like radium watches and radium dishes and stuff. You mentioned Russia here. Just a quick story from Interesting Engineering. Russia, the world's first closed fuel nuclear system, will recycle 95% of spent fuel. I'm talking about Russia's work on not only nuclear reactors. Now, the interesting thing that we're seeing here, of course, we're just barely coming out of the era of, we just had France, Germany, other places in Europe shutting down all of their nuclear reactors, or a huge amount of their nuclear reactors, which has made them more reliant on Russia for their natural gas. That's something not a lot of people talk about, is even during all this war talk and everything, Europe is pretty much getting the majority of their natural gas from Russia, fueling their war effort. Funny how that works, isn't it? And that's after all the green hullabaloo about shutting down nuclear reactors, which just happens to be the cleanest way and most efficient way to power a country. And at the same time, you've got Russia coming up with this technology. I didn't know this, but this is at least being reported by Interesting Engineering. We're basically set to run out of uranium by 2090. And that's not just run out of supplies, that's run out of Earth's uranium, digging it up, mining it all, be depleted by 2090. And so there, at least Russia's nuclear technology here that can run off of spent uranium rods, meaning, not only is it sort of recycling the nuclear fuel, but of course, giving Russia the ability to fire up their nuclear power long after the entire world runs out of uranium altogether.
Real quick, I found this article from 2024, which is titled "Google's Nuclear Power Plan Could Revolutionize Cryptocurrency Mining." And in it here, it says Google's new deal, Kairos Power, a U.S.-based nuclear engineering company, recently inked a long-term deal with Google to develop and bring the company's first SMR online, quote, quickly and safely by 2030. With continuing rollouts planned through 2035. So looks like Google is all over it. Darn, we had a chance, but it's too late. Google's already all over the SMR game. And this shows, a lot of the U.S. government, regardless, man, the deeper we go with all this stuff, Basil, we know about the right-left paradigm and how it's sort of a distraction and the false duality and all this kind of stuff. But when you start looking at specific things like SMRs, looking at giant companies like Google, likely working with the U.S. government to ensure the U.S. maintains some level of supremacy when it comes to energy production and whatnot in the world, or at least fighting for it. Man, the right-left paradigm is such a waste of time. It's like get everybody to chase each other, call each other names, and get mad at each other. Meanwhile, Google and the U.S. government and intelligence are onward with a new energy infrastructure that will be, that'll benefit everybody. I'm sure this will also benefit all the AI companies, and ultimately, it might be the bedrock to create a sort of allowing the robots, allowing the AI to do its thing so that we can have a government-issued universal basic income, although it's probably not going to be called that. But I can see that happening as well, where truly the thing that we were afraid of, Basil, it's going to come to pass. We're all going to be controlled, and they're going to pay us to live.
Follow me on my red string journey on the corkboard conspiracy theorist thing here. Are you ready?
Hold on. No, I'm not. Give me a second to prompt my rabbit hole here.
Okay, let's go down the rabbit hole.
Let's go down the rabbit hole. Where's my rabbit hole? Here it is.
Come, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
Okay, talking about nuclear power. We're talking about the future technocratic dystopia, which requires these minerals, right? Of course, with all this, I have one of our producers sending me all these articles, related articles, of course, with Trump sort of secretly behind the scenes, locking in all of these critical minerals, whether it's from this fake stuff in Venezuela or Brazil or Greenland or any number of these places. What they have in common is the critical minerals that are needed. And one of the least known, most esoteric critical minerals required is a mineral called antimony. And those who have been tuning in to Canary Cry Clubhouse, you've heard of some antimony. There's connections with the Black Rock Desert where Burning Man takes place. But follow me here. The Black Rock Desert. Okay, let me go even further, way further back. The Watchers. One of the main Watchers is Azazel. Okay, Azazel is related to the ancient Hebrew process of atonement, Yom Kippur. Okay, Yom Kippur. This is in the ancient Hebrew days. What happens is the community gets together, they fast, they do these things. This is when they make a sacrifice to atone for the community's sins, but they also have what's called the scapegoat. The scapegoat is a goat, and they sort of ritualistically strap all the sins of the community to this goat, and they don't kill it. They kill the lamb, but the goat they let go off into the desert. They set it free, right? To sort of symbolically carry away the sins of the people on the back of this goat, goes into the wilderness. It either dies or gets taken by somebody else. But the point is that the sins are gone. They're not our problem anymore. Where the goat goes into the wilderness is called Azazel, who is with also the name of the Watcher, Azazel.
The Watcher, as named in the Book of Enoch.
That's right.
Yeah.
You send the scapegoat out into Azazel, where the sins are gone, and blah, blah, blah. Then Azazel the Watcher comes, and he is the one who taught humanity how to build weapons, how to build
I know
armor.
exactly where you're going, by the way.
Where to, taught the women to wear makeup,
yes,
to make jewelry. And there's only one thing that is mentioned in the sort of skills and teachings of Azazel that isn't sort of a skill, and that is antimony. Right there in the Book of Enoch, it says he taught him how to make swords and shields and makeup and jewelry and antimony. And antimony, I guess non-surprisingly enough, is the only material that's actually named alongside Azazel, with all these sort of concepts of technology included. It didn't say iron and steel and blah, blah, blah. It just says antimony. Coincidentally, antimony is used in all of these things, in swords, shields, armors, makeup, jewelry, all these things. So antimony goes all the way back to Azazel, Yom Kippur. Just happens to be that Yom Kippur shows up in the Hill's ongoing coverage for the government shutdown. 25 minutes ago, they say, senators gone for the day. Senators have left the Capitol for the day. Congress will not be in session Thursday to observe the Jewish high holiday of Yom Kippur. Senators are slated to vote on government funding again on Friday. Senate Majority Leader John Thune also said he expects the weekend votes on averting a shutdown. So they're expecting basically a full week of shutdown, partially because of Yom Kippur. You got Yom Kippur, this connection to Azazel, to antimony, to scapegoating, which goes all the way to the antimony, one of the required minerals for a lot of things, not just nuclear reactors, but also things like data centers and I guess now Utah. So, we have this combination of things, this cosmic chessboard all coming together, Gons. And this is why I'm all out of red string for my corkboard.
Boom! I found the actual thing. Okay, so those of you watching the screen were probably looking at me kind of digging around on the concordance and everything. Okay, so 2 Kings 9, verse 30, okay? This is just one example. There's multiple. But it says, hold on, let me go back to the thing. It says, and when, okay, hold on. Let me read a more understandable version.
You're watching the
yeah, like the concordance
word
sometimes.
for word concordance one.
Yeah, it makes it seem like I'm Yoda or something. But okay, it's 9 verse 30. When Jehu came to Jezreel, Jezebel heard of it, and she painted her eyes and adorned her head and looked out of the window. Painted her eyes. Mm-hmm. That's the key here. Painted her eyes. You go in there and you go into the I think it's the Hebrew that shows us each word. Painted her eyes, put on, it's translated on, puke, P-U-K, puke is a dye, specifically stibium for the eyes, but also in definition, antimony. There it is, Basil, right there. Boom.
In there, baby.
In the Bible.
In there.
And this is repeated in Jeremiah 4, verse 30. Ezekiel 23:40 also mentions it. So, yeah, who would have thought that a little mineral has so much to do with all the modern technology and the Watchers.
It's the most interesting thing about it, especially if you're into Watchers and Nephilim and, the Book of Enoch in general, is, on this list of technologies, which we can trace towards basically all the problems we have in the world today, not only weapons and war and things like that, but also, these sort of confidence emergency, the way we see ourselves, the social media disasters, young people, young women especially, being given beauty standards and that are sort of unattainable, but also encouraged, doing things to the body that are not so, healthy, even down to sort of toxins inside of these products. I mean, from start to finish, this Azazel brought technologies that, of course, have brought humanity into a wonderful technological age. Nothing that we have that we take for granted today could exist without antimony. And it's all thanks to this guy who has the direct, at least, what's the word, nomenclature relation, the sort of ancient connection to Yom Kippur, which, happens to fall exactly directly in the middle of this government shutdown. Thursday will pretty much be the exact middle of the shutdown, based on John Thune's assumption that they're gonna, figure it out at the end of the weekend, basically next Monday or so.
Mm-hmm. That's very interesting. Yeah, antimony also used quite a bit in computing for semiconductors. It's being used to develop certain things for quantum and AI and blockchains, and it's a good fire retardant. Apparently, it's good for batteries. It's already being used.
Mm-hmm.
MIT developed some technology with it to keep things running cooler, and if there is a fire that breaks out, it'll suppress that. But yeah, the supply can definitely affect AI, quantum, blockchain, the future of all computing. The cyberspace depends on antimony.
That's right.
Is it antimony or antimony?
I've said it both ways and I've heard it both ways, and you make the comment that the sort of digital world depends on antimony, this sort of parallel universe that we all live in. We both live in the physical world, God's creation, but also this parallel realm that sort of doesn't exist physically, but it's just as real, and we've talked about the digital world as the sort of fallen counterfeit of the spiritual realm. We operate, we're always in the spiritual world as well as the physical world here. And, the adversary, he's only good at counterfeiting, and the digital world, the internet, cyberspace, this is sort of a counterfeit opportunity from the enemy, who, you know, you look at the digital world for the most part, despite little beams of light shining through with the internet being used for good things, primarily a negative place to spend a lot of time.
The symbolic aspect of Azazel teaching makeup and painting antimony or antimony-based stuff on their eyes, like just the symbolic nature of like, we're gonna, you know, this is blinding you. This is it's gonna make you beautiful.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yes, right. But you'll be, you know, and it's usually
blinded to the truth.
Eyeshadow, you know, usually black, you know, you're putting black over your eyes. Yeah, there's a lot going on there, man. There's a lot going on there. And luckily we get the freedom to go down these rabbit holes thanks to our value for value system and our producers who come in, they support the show with their time, their talent, their treasure. We have another executive producer we want to thank today. And if you want to learn all about it, or if you get value from this show and you want to put value back in, remember, we get no money from corporations, commies, cartels, advertisements, sponsorships, platform partnerships, nothing, not a single dime. We're entirely supported and sustained through the value for value model, which means by you. If you're someone out there who gets value from the show and you have woken up to the reality that, oh, this economic mammon worshiping system where corporations or institutions get to purchase my attention, get to purchase my consciousness, and through podcasters and things like that, they get to purchase your trust for a relatively small amount of money. And you might think, well, all these things are free. They're not free. In fact, they're the opposite of free. They demand what's way more important than money to you, and that is the sort of invasion of your spiritual, your psychological life. And so here, we don't do any of those sorts of support mechanisms. We don't let any other incentivized groups get their little fingers to worm into your time you spend with us. And if you're someone who's woken up to the fact that, oh, that's actually, wow, that's actually a pretty big deal. And it's also a pretty big deal that we've been able to continue doing the show like this for so long. But it's only possible when people go, oh, this is valuable to me. I want this value to continue coming. And so I'll put some value back in. It has to come back. And it can come back in all sorts of different ways. It's not even all about money. You can produce the show with your time, your talent, your treasure. Go to canarycry.support to learn all about it and get involved there. And we're thanking our executive producer, Sir LX Protocol V2, Knight of the Brian Protocol, for this next segment of the show. Guns, ready when you are.
It's got to be biblical. Okay, we have an interesting story here, which is kind of a throwback for Canarians out there. This is coming from sciencealert.com. We emit a visible light that vanishes when we die, says surprising study. Surprising. Life is truly radiant, according to an experiment conducted by researchers from the University of Calgary and the National Research Council of Canada. An extraordinary experiment on mice and leaves from two different plant species has uncovered direct physical evidence of an eerie, quote, biophoton phenomenon ceasing on death, suggesting all living things, including humans, could literally glow with health until we don't. The findings might seem a little fringe at first glance. It's hard not to associate scientific investigations into biological electromagnetic emissions with debunked and paranormal claims of auras and discharges surrounding living organisms. Watch the clip for more research. What's more, even in theory, visible wavelengths of light emitted by biological processes out to be so faint that it's easily swamped by the intense shine of ambient electromagnetic waves in the environment and radiant heat generated by our metabolism, making it challenging to accurately track across an entire body. And then they get into the actual study here. They talk about biophotons, yada, yada, yada. To determine whether the process could be scaled from isolated tissues, which where they saw this, To entire living species, the researchers used electron-multiplying charge-coupled device and charge-coupled device cameras to compare the faintest of emissions from whole mice, first alive, then dead. 4 immobilized mice were individually placed in a dark box and imaged for an hour before being euthanized and imaged for another hour. They were warmed to body temperature even after death to keep heat from being a variable. Man, there's some zombie type experiments going on there with the mice, but I guess it's nothing new. To research, the researchers found they could capture individual photons in the visible band of light popping out of the mouse cells before and after death. The difference in the numbers of these photons was clear, with a significant drop in UPE in the measurement period after they were euthanized. They got a little chart here that shows alive and the photons they're emitting while they're alive and then after death. A process carried out on thale cress and dwarf umbrella tree leaves revealed similar bold results, stressing the plants with physical injuries and chemical agents provided strong evidence that reactive oxygen species could in fact be behind the soft glow. Quote, our results show that the injury parts of all leaves were significantly brighter than the uninjured parts of the leaves during all 16 hours of imaging, the researchers report. The experiment encourages speculation that the faintest of ethereal glows produced by stressed cells may perhaps one day tell us whether we're in radiant health. This is
Radiant
science
health.
alert. They're starting to sound super new agey, you know? They're like, your aura. We know it's so easy to dismiss the aura, but here we are. There's scientific evidence for the aura. And, we're going to be able to tell how healthy you are.
Yeah, the word aura for sure harkens. But, that's something that we have, especially back on Canary Cry Radio quite a while ago, this image of God, this sort of light that constitutes God's creations, it's been a sort of a long time. I just put a what's it called? A link in our document there. A lot of people will have seen this and heard this, but one of the amazing things that especially should change one's mind about conception and fertility and having babies and stuff like that is this was just making the sort of rounds again. I think it's interesting that this is kind of part of the job here, is to sort of try to spot these trends as they start happening. It probably was due to this research that you were reading, but the famous videos of the flash of light that happens when the human egg gets fertilized, the moment of conception when life comes together, a brand new genetic code is created in this flash of light. For those who are watching,
maybe the kind of flash of light that allegedly happened to Jesus, according to, if you're oh my gosh, I'm forgetting the name of the cloak.
The Shroud of Turin?
Shroud of Turin, yes. If you're a Shroud of Turin believer, then yes, there was a emission of light as soon as Jesus was resurrected. So it would imply something similar here. But, yes, this is a very famous video here of the embryo, the human embryo being formed at the moment of conception, this burst of light that occurs. And yes, you had mentioned some of our old episodes. Back in 2017, we had episode 121 of Canary Cry Radio, Let There Be Light. And we talked about God's light in multiple forms. It was one of our topical episodes that, we had fun doing and put together. So go check that out from 2017. I can't believe 2017 is almost 10 years ago. Isn't that crazy? That's a wild thing.
And for those who are
feel good.
For those who are new, Canary Cry Radio is a different show. You're listening to Canary Cry News Talk right now, so you want to search Canary Cry Radio, especially on your podcast player. That's our show from 2012 and onward. Much more interview focused. We're sort of talking to authors and scholars and all these guys. And we did topical episodes as well, deep dive episodes. It's great even to this day. And the fun part is about keeping that archive or those old episodes up, is you'll be listening to an episode and you'll go, yeah, I already know all this. Okay, this happened in 2020. And then you'll look and it's like, oh my gosh, they were talking about this in 2012. How did they do it? How did they call it?
So back in 2012, it was April 23rd, 2012. We published Canary Cry Radio episode number 6. We were so fresh right out of the box there.
Wow.
And that was a Doug Hamp interview for Corrupting the Image. Doug Hamp was featured in Age of Deceit 1. And he had done the research and talked about how our DNA absorbs light and emits light, much like a glow-in-the-dark sticker or something. And he, of course, related it to many of the scriptures that suggest something very similar, which I do find very fascinating, Basil. I know people don't talk about these things in the context of the Bible, but there are many passages in the scriptures that suggest that we are really, like, we do emit a type of light, and not just metaphorical, a literal type of light.
Right.
You know, and I think that's where maybe the metaphorical interpretations have not done a service, like dying on the hill of metaphor when it comes to some of this stuff has not necessarily been a great thing. You got 1 Matthew 5. Of course, everyone knows this one. You are the light of the world. I mean, pretty straightforward. Later in verse 16, let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father in heaven. John 8, verse 12. Then Jesus spoke to them, saying, I am the light of the world. He who follows me shall not walk in darkness, but have the light of life. And then Daniel 12:3, back in the Old Testament, if those who are wise shall shine like the brightness of the firmament, and those who turn turn many to righteousness like the stars forever and ever. I think some of the there are some offshoots of Christianity that take that literally and say that we're going to turn into planets, but I think the more important point here is that we are going to shine like the brightness of the firmament. Wow, that's pretty intense. And then there's also Isaiah 60, verse 1. Arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord is risen upon you. And even in the name, face like the sun, this idea that Moses was, first off, in the Old Testament, he came down from Mount Hermon, or maybe not Mount Hermon, whatever mountain he was on when he got the 10 Commandments, and his face was glowing so brightly that they had to put a bag over his head. And then also Jesus' transfiguration, face shining like the sun. So there seems to be this light, a physical light that will intensify in our resurrected state. And clearly the fallen state also emits light because we are living creatures created in the image of God, and just a living being in general, one that has the breath of life in it. And maybe that's what it is too, that the breath of life. Anything that has the breath of life has this light that it emits, because if it's all biological things, then now we're talking animals and plants and things of that nature that this study looked at. So yeah, old news for Canarians, but hey, you got all the Christians, freaking out. It's like, whoa, bro, I didn't know. But
well, there's a lot more people coming to the knowledge of Jesus. It just shows the trend towards salvation, hopefully authentic, relationship with Jesus we're seeing. And this is something we've always taken for granted as us going, oh, well, we did that in 2012.
Right. It's not
go back, new Christian, and listen to a show from 10 years ago. On that note, and especially on the themes of our entire career, Guns, transhumanism, we just saw the flash of light at fertilization, at the creation of a new human being. We've also been tracking the transhuman, the demonic desire to cut God's processes out of this world to counterfeit the wonderful creation that not only is God responsible for, but our ability to co-create with him or procreate together. We have this transhumanist update here. This is coming from NPR because I just love the language they slather all over this. We've been following the creation of artificial wombs, of course, of artificial fertilization techniques and technologies, which just get closer and closer and closer to not only cutting the relationship or the couple out of the process. Of course, cutting the man out of the process is easy peasy, but cutting the woman out of the process, one of these sort of dark demonic trends that we've been seeing, that goes along with lots of the downsides of progress, that social progress especially, that has created fertility crises, which has created regrets from generations of women who were told, getting pregnant is the worst thing in the world. So either don't do it or consider it a medical emergency if you need to get an abortion, or, this entire culture that we've lived in for several decades now, that has resulted in an absolute crash, not just in population, but in fertility. Thankful to see that the younger generations are sort of waking up and turning from this. The numbers on Gen Z fertility has already, they're starting more families than millennials did before them and Gen X before them. However, the journey to cut God's creation out of the process continues. Coming from NPR here, scientists create human eggs in the lab using skin cells. It was during COVID where they had sort of officially, they had cut out men out of the process, and then they were starting to cut women out of the process by developing the artificial wombs. And we even said back, I think this was 2022, oh, there's only one last thing they got to cut out, and that is the egg, because there is a timeline on female fertility, and this kind of weird technological process of freezing eggs, extracting eggs, is not, it's fairly traumatic on women who go through that sort of thing. And so they needed to sterilize it even more. And here we go. They've done it. Only took them a couple of years. Scientists create human eggs in the lab using skin cells. Scientists have created human eggs containing genes from adult skin cells, a step that someday could help women who are infertile or gay couples have babies with their own genes, but would also raise difficult ethical, social, and legal issues. You don't say. Quote, it's a significant step forward, says Shakrat Mitalipov of the Oregon Health and Science University in Portland, who led the research published in the journal Nature Communications. Millions of women can't have children using their own eggs because of their age or other reasons. So scientists have been trying to create human eggs in the lab that carry the genes of the people struggling to have children. The field is known as in vitro gametogenesis and involves researchers around the world, including in Japan, as well as the US biotech companies. Quote, this technology would allow many of these women to have genetically their own eggs and to have a genetically related child, says Mitalipov. NPR in a different context would be calling this eugenics,
I think the in vitro game to Genesis game. I know that's not pronounced that way.
Oh, I see. Yes.
Gametogenesis. It's game, like a game. This is not a game. To Genesis, the whole thing, right? Like they're trying to be their own Genesis. They're playing this game. Yeah.
It's interesting because the argument from those who are so solidly in the stop having children camp say, oh, why do you need to have your own children? You're a bad person for wanting a children with your genes. There's so many children that you can adopt. There's so many ways.
Are you an actual child or are you just a genetically related child?
Well, it was like this toxic, like you're a bad person if you insist on having a child with your own genes.
Right.
And here we go. They come back around. It turns out as technology progresses, of course, the sort of liberal mindset, the progressive mindset, is that there is no solid principle behind your ideas. There's no solid grounding.
There's no men or women.
No truth.
We're going to make female eggs.
No eternal foundation for your ideology. So as technology progresses, as society progresses, you can just kind of change your approach to the whole thing. I seriously think this is like one of the main problems why those who are sort of under the progressivism umbrella or spell, and those who are a little bit more traditional or conservative. It's this understanding of like, no, there is a ground of truth. There are principles, and thankfully we see society going back this way in recent year here, with the increase in interest and devotion to Christ. People find society reached the level where they go, okay, we tried the like no objective truth thing. We tried the, change our policies, our thoughts, our ideologies, every day based on whatever we want, this postmodernism with no solid grounding to reality. The galaxy is made, not of atoms, but of stories. I am what I think I am. This sort of thing.
I like that. We're not made of atoms. We're made of stories.
Yeah. Whereas those on, I like to think, our side, we're like, no, there is actual truth. There is actual reality. Not everything is just a story you tell yourself. This is a core principle that is separating different pieces of society now. And here we go. Now on the NPR side, going to help everybody. Of course, it's very medically relevant. And of course, we do have generations of women who have been convinced to stall or eschew this opportunity to pass on their genes and have a child and participate in the procreative gift that God has given us. They've passed on that for the journey, the following of their own desires, their own the fleeting
empowerment, Basil, empowerment for women to vote. And
well, yeah, we can go back as far as you want, and you got scores of women being like, oh my gosh, I made a huge mistake. I've been lied to. This is horrible. I mean, there's horrible stories of these women coming to this realization, especially millennial women now approaching 40, being like, oh no, what did we do?
Yeah.
But don't worry, because now we have we have surpassed the status of mere human and taken one more step up the Tower of Babel to become gods ourselves. Give us a piece of your skin. We can make you an egg, because of course having a child with your genetic code is important. Of course,
well, it goes even
genetically related to you is important. Whoever told you that's not the case? I mean, we did think that yesterday, but we changed our minds today. So here, pay us tens of thousands of dollars. Let us pump you full of hormones and synthetic stuff to try to give you what you naturally had. You were naturally a machine for procreation. We convinced you weren't, and you worked for the company and your career went nowhere. Or maybe you're the most successful businesswoman in the world, and yet you're finding yourself empty at the end. That's what you get when you listen to us. But don't worry, we can come back, we can fix it, we can make it right, we can give you a child made from your own skin. All you got to do is sign this contract that says we actually own your child. And then, you can have as many as you want. Don't worry, it'll be great.
Yeah, the Hegelian dialectic has worked so well, because forever they're like,
we should invite fewer people to be born.
And it worked for decades, and now they're like, oh no, we have a crisis, we're not making enough babies. And then, of course, science will step in and be like, hey, we got a solution for you, give us your skin. And look, NPR couldn't help themselves. Of course, they say the thing that we all know. If IVG is ever perfected, the technology could have applications beyond helping infertile women. IVG could, for example, also allow gay couples to have babies genetically related to both parents. So look at, we talk, and this is
that's interesting. Take male DNA skin cell and create a female gamete, which is the egg. Yeah. I mean, that's some next level, like, corrupting the image, man. That's crazy.
No, that is, for sure. I mean, it doesn't surprise me at all, because I think I've been saying that this is kind of what they're trying to go for with technology and science in general. And you know what this is for the lib woke progressive thing? They get the argument now, or they get to push back on the argument. The argument changes, because before it was like, okay, let's just think about this logically, folks. If everybody on Earth was gay, we wouldn't have any more babies.
There'd be no humans,
There'd
right?
be no more babies, right? Now they get to push back. Well, now we can get IVGs.
That's
and we
right.
can have babies. So now what?
Test tube. They still, you go, okay, if you make an egg from male DNA, you still need a womb. There still needs to be a human.
We have an artificial womb.
Exactly. The artificial womb is there.
We got everything for you. We could just give us your skin. We'll just make another you.
The irony is then, okay, well, you've done it. You've cut women entirely out of their biological,
Yeah, a
biological
bunch of
ability.
dudes don't even need the women anymore. They just, peel off some skin in some weird ritual, put it in a flask, and this is ancient alchemy at its finest.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
now they're
It's
actually
a
able
bunch
to pull it off.
A bunch of homunculi, just, multiply and be fruitful and fill the earth with your homunculi, dudes.
The whole concept of the wheat and the tare becomes terrifying in this context, because if we are rapidly approaching the return of Christ, and one of the character traits is as it were in the days of Noah, but also the wheat and the tares, and of course throughout history it's a great passage to talk about, hey, evil people, regular people, we all kind of look the same, but on a whole different level here, if the end times is going to have natural born people and artificially made people, I mean, how are we supposed to know what is what anymore? Talk about wheat and tares.
The question to be answered is, when one of these fake human eggs is fertilized in a fake human womb, is there a flash of light?
Of course there
signals the human soul inhabiting.
It was given breath. The image was given breath. So I think I think it is permitted.
One more little medical update here. This is interesting, kind of happened in the background the past couple of days. Trump announces Trump RX website offering discounted prescription drugs. The top line is President Donald Trump on Tuesday announced the creation of Trump RX, a direct-to-consumer website where customers can buy drugs directly, as well as an agreement with pharmaceutical manufacturer Pfizer for significant reductions for drug prices that will be offered on the new platforms. The Trump RX website is expected to allow patients to pay in cash for certain prescription drugs, the Wall Street Journal reported on Tuesday, but the president offered few details on how the site would work. How would the site work? Do you
click it this button?
Put your credit card in. Trump announced the plans for the website in the Oval Office speech alongside Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and Pfizer CEO Dr. Albert Bourla. Drugs from Pfizer. Drugs from Pfizer will be available on the Trump RX platform, the pharmaceutical company said in a statement sent to Forbes. Pfizer also voluntarily agreed to reduce drug prices in the U.S., putting prices in line with those paid in other developed markets, the company said. Pfizer said it agreed to deal with the Trump administration in which it would not face pharmaceutical tariffs so long as it agreed to invest in manufacturing in the U.S. I love, they voluntarily agreed to reduce drug prices so that they won't face 100% pharmaceutical tariffs. The company also said it would invest additional money. Trump said the other pharmaceutical companies were coming to negotiate similar deals over the next week. Plans for the website, blah, 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 were first reported. So there's lots of questions. These are similar questions to the Epstein situation, similar questions to the vaccine situations, similar questions to the Medicare situation. The promises made by the Trump administration, in this case Robert F. Kennedy, when it comes to medications, just the big pharma problem, right? The whole big pharma problem. And we're sitting here waiting for justice. I mean, especially with Pfizer. Come on. How many times have we played Albert Bourla between 2020 and just pure criminality? We know this. And look, I'll say alleged criminality, although I will say Pfizer is the company with the largest criminal fines in human history, not related to COVID, related to something else. So if somebody has a problem with me attaching the word criminal to Pfizer or Albert Bourla, I'm referring to the on-the-record historical criminal fines they've had to pay in the past. Okay?
From like decades ago. This is like 10 years before, 15 years before COVID, they were getting hit with all kinds of multi-billion-dollar lawsuits.
If someone was making, a funny comment for comedy and, nothing actionable or libelous, an organization who is criminally liable and fined for the biggest amount of money in human history, someone might call that a criminal organization. An organization that does crime is a criminal. Anyways, so we sit here and we ask, like, okay, when's the justice? When is Trump going to take him down? When's all the truth going to come out about COVID? When's it going to happen? Same with Epstein. There's a lot of like, okay, when's the Epstein thing? When is justice going to come? Well, just like with Epstein, Trump is now holding the reins on the world's largest blackmailing operation. If you are someone in power who wants to get things done, you being the one wielding that blackmail can get a lot done for you. I feel like maybe this whole Pfizer deal has something very similar. Oh, I hear you, Albert Bourla. Look, there's a lot of nasty stuff about the COVID situation that, Robert F. Kennedy, I could let him off the leash. We could really cause problems for you. Unless, look, I got a deal. I won't tariff you. We won't, we'll wait till you're out of the CEO position, Albert Bourla, or something before we go ahead and let the dogs loose on the COVID situation. You're going to need to do something for me, though. I have a website, Trump RX, and you are going to give us most favored nation prices. And for those who don't know, I think a lot of people do, but this is part of, Trump's whole thing here is trying to get most favored nation prices from these drug companies, meaning most countries around the world pay, I think it's something like 100 times less for drugs than we do, sort of on average or all together. And that's because we pay 100 times more for drugs. So basically, America is paying the actual bills for the rest of the world to get cheap drugs, right? Which, look, if you want to say that that's like your charitable giving to the world is paying 100 times more for your own drugs, then fine, that's on you. But the point being, and that trickles down. The drug prices trickles into the insurance prices, trickles into the hospital prices, trickles all the way down. And so, Trump said, you know what? Fine, we'll cut out the insurance. I'll go directly. I'm going to hold Pfizer hostage, basically, both with 100% tariffs and God knows what else. And you'll make the drugs available for cash at the same price they're available in India or, wherever you're selling these drugs. And we'll do it on a website called Trump RX. So, Obama had Obamacare. Trump RX, he gets his own thing. I think that's very funny. Hopefully Trump RX as a website isn't as disastrous as the Obamacare website for those who were alive and paying attention back then. Barack Obama spent $2 billion of taxpayer money to make a website, and the website didn't work. Basically, is like, I don't know, paid his buddy's cousin or something to make a Squarespace site.
Make me a website.
Yeah, and it didn't hold up. So, the Trump RX website, it's kind of got this funny mirroring of the Obamacare website. Hopefully it works better. But that's going to be huge, especially because, the drug prices thing has been a very big deal for a long time. It was a big deal about Biden. Biden, we beat big pharma. We decree.
Oh yeah. No. Speaking of Biden, I think he's the first customer. Here's what he said about the whole situation.
I've ordered more pills than anyone in the world.
Got a great discount already.
Got a great deal from Trump RF. So anyways, that's happening. I don't know. We'll see if it actually comes through. You never know which things actually get pulled off, but it is fun to see Albert Bourla and Pfizer sort of get held hostage and forced to actually do something not in their own interest.
But of course, Trump doing it where he gets to make a little cash as well.
I don't know. I think it's a government website. It's not. I don't think it's his company or something. It's it's all done through the government, I believe. I mean, I don't know. We'll see what happens. But at least he gets sort of the legacy. Obama gets Obamacare. Trump will get Trump RX, Trump Pharmaceuticals.
Well, just to finish things off, let's just wrap up today with the sneeze heard around the world. Did you see this, Basil?
No.
You did not see this? Okay, here we go.
We'll get it down even further. But insulin was people weren't taking it. I would imagine they couldn't take it. God bless you, Bobby. Yeah. I hope I didn't catch COVID just there. Don't you have Paxlovid? What is it? He's got Paxlovid. Give me a Paxlovid immediately.
So what you saw there was Trump talking. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. was behind him. He sneezed, and then, of course, the jokes ensued. So I'm glad he can joke about it, because he's the guy. He's the COVID lockdown guy, Trump, Operation War on Your Seed.
That's good. While we're talking about medication, I do just want to bring something to our attention. What is the name? I'm seeing a lot of course, not mainstream talk about this because they would never. Yeah. But a drug called leucovorin. This was mentioned by Trump and Robert F. Kennedy Jr. at the sort of Tylenol announcement, that whole press conference.
Acetaminophen thing, yeah.
Right, the acetaminophen thing. They mentioned leucovorin, and
here you go. I got an NPR article on it, Basil, from a week ago.
You?
Yeah, look at this. Look at
Pull
this.
it up. What do they have to say about it?
Leucovorin for autism?
Question mark.
Question mark. Many scientists and parents are skeptical.
Of course they are, because Trump said it. There's been sort of a recent flood of videos, content from mothers with these leucovorin success stories. Now, could they all be fake Chinese AI propaganda? Maybe. I don't know. I don't know who makes leucovorin.
So they're saying it's like the anti-autism thing.
Yeah, so there's this one video in particular going around.
All right, bathe your autistic children in a pool of leucovorin, everybody.
Well, that's actually not pretty far from the truth. These parents are saying, that my child was totally fine, and then they got a required medical treatment that is people are not happy with, and then they go full nonverbal. They go full nonverbal, totally autistic, and then they're talking about giving them this leucovorin, and they're saying like within a couple days their child starts speaking again. So I don't know. I haven't done the deep dive. I'm curious where it came from.
Let's make a park. Let's make a waterfall, Basil. A leucovorin waterfall. We'll baptize all the kids in there. It'll be great.
Yeah,
come
put it in the water treatment at the water slide park.
The Canary Leucovorin Center.
Every summer, you take your kid to the water park and they come out non-autistic. I don't know. So, anyways, this is just something that's popping up. I don't have a lot to go into it right now, but this was mentioned by Trump, RFK Jr., and more women are coming out as mothers and telling these stories. Oh, well, here we go. New York Post.
As mothers.
Let's see here. New York Post. Okay. Let me give you this. Not that we need to dive in too much, but I'll give you this link and we can all look at it together. Autism, 18 months.
It's interesting, the quote unquote cleanup job here with the medical industry, or the entire industry, I would imagine is going to, it's going to seem like it's curtailing the scientific dictatorship, but in fact, I believe it is accelerating it, because all these measures are going to have to be put in place to ensure compliance.
Well, if they've known this thing, if they've had this drug and they've known this drug for some time, the fact that they're letting it out right now is interesting timing, beneficial and profitable timing. Again, especially with we don't know who's making the drug. Maybe Tylenol has had this in their back pocket, I mean, that's funny, but like, we've seen it all the time. We see it all the time. The company with the drug that's causing the problem also has the treatment that fixes the problem. I'm just rambling now, but here's New York Post. Our autistic son's speech was erased at 18 months. This came out yesterday, September 30th. Our autistic son's speech was erased at 18 months. Now he uses full sentences thanks to an experimental drug. Goes into the story. Ryan Baldrick Jr. was a bright, talkative toddler, breezing through flashcards, building an astonishing vocabulary and hitting developmental milestones with ease. Then at 18 months, something shifted. Quote, "It was like he was erased and reset," his father, Ryan Baldridge Sr., told the Post. Everything changed. Suddenly, the young boy, known to his family as Junior, lost the ability to speak in full sentences, began repeating only fragments of what others said, trapped in a speech disorder called echolalia. The words that he knew from the flashcards, all that vocab was gone. His mother, Kimberly, said he wasn't speaking for himself. Now at almost 9, Junior has found his voice again thanks to leucovorin, a decades-old, low-cost drug. Hello, there it is. No wonder we haven't heard about it. Decades-old, low-cost drug that's given some children with autism a chance to finally be heard. I'm glad. For a second reading this, I'm like, oh, they're not going to mention autism, are they? There they go. It's given some children with autism a chance to finally be heard. And it goes in. After his speech faded, Junior began showing other traits associated with autism, including avoiding eye contact, walking on his tiptoes, and struggling to interact with his peers. This writer for this New York Post article knew that he had to get readers about halfway in before mentioning autism, because a certain type of person, if they saw autism in the first paragraph or the headline, they're just turning it off,
It's interesting. I just was doing a little quick research here on leucovorin, and apparently the big companies like Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson, who is the parent company for Tylenol, they don't make any products with leucovorin. The biggest companies out there making leucovorin products, Teva Pharmaceuticals, which is a company that is in the USA, but also Israel. So there's that. And then there's one in Germany. There's a couple smaller ones in the US, and one in UK. So, is this like a rotation of products? It's very convenient that it's something that isn't used or isn't manufactured by the big pharma companies right now. So it's convenient, that it would have some kind of reversal effect here for autism, or allegedly, and then I would imagine it benefits those companies that are producing it. They have the first mover advantage on product placement, should it go in that direction. So I don't know, just thinking out loud, just researching a little bit. But yeah, the biggest company that creates a leucovorin product is a Israeli US company.
Yeah. There you go. Okay, there's just some updates hitting the world today. Appreciate everybody coming in, and a big old shout out to all of our producers. Okay, we could not do what we do without the producers, who are intimately familiar with the fact that there are no advertisements, sponsorships, anything like that on this show is a huge obstacle to us in the community, but thankfully, especially those who recognize not only the value of the sort of news coverage or analysis, but also the sort of spiritual commitment to what God is doing here on this earth, coming in, becoming a producer of the show, putting value back in with your time, your talent, your treasure. We cannot do it without you. And so we like to thank our producers because, man, there would be no show without them. So let's thank our execs real quick, Gons, and we'll thank some other producers who came in to make this show happen.
Let's do it.
Okay. Again, we're going to thank these fellows, of course, executive producer. Oh, and of course, everybody, big old thank you to all of our monthly producers who, over the years, they've come in, they say, yep, I get it. I get it. I'm getting value. I'm putting value back in. My brain feels good. There's no corporations or establishments or incentives worming their way in through my favorite podcast underneath the radar to try to control my behavior, my spending habits, my ideology, because that's what all of that is for, folks. Go read Edward Bernays and then come back to me and tell me advertising is cool. Yes, thank you to our monthly producers who are committed to keeping us going and continue to get value from the show. Our executive producers are as follows, of course. A big old thank you to executive producer Trevor G.
Trevor G, thank you very much.
Thank you. It did not get a note from Trevor G, but Trevor G came in for a nice round number. Appreciate that very much, Trevor G.
Thank you, Trevor.
For those who don't know, if you support the show with a nice round number on the 10 or the 5, that's you telling us you'd prefer we do not disclose the amount on the show. If you don't mind us disclosing the amount on the show, have some fun with the number. Make it kind of funky. Put 33 cents on there, 77 cents, 1, 2, 3, 4. Like executive producer Sir LX Protocol V2 Baron of the Breen Protocol coming in.
There he is.
For $100.33. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir.
He's on a 429 episode streak and an 83 episode executive producer streak.
83.
Bleep, blop, bloop, bleep. Let's see here. Oh, that's somebody sent a text. It looks like maybe I spelt something wrong. This person was coming in to actually join as a monthly producer.
Right.
Over, looking at the monthly options for the canarycry.tube options, and found a spelling error. Apparently, I don't know. Gons, you know this. This is an active contention for us every single time we do a show. Is I have zero attention or care in my brain about spelling anything correctly.
I'm constantly walking behind you, fixing capitalization, spellings, punctuation, and I'm not the best at it. Actually, in the last maybe 5-6 months, I've been less strict about it. I've just started to give up.
Yeah.
So if you do look at the show notes, sometimes if it looks atrocious, that means Gons did not go back and edit those. But you know what? It's for the AI. It's for the AI. We're not going to be all pristine for the AI.
The best part is he's so humble and quiet about it. He just changes the spelling and fixes the error and moves on and doesn't make a big deal about it.
I don't say anything.
Oh, no, you don't say anything.
Until right now.
It's not a constant stream of criticism of spelling while we're getting the show ready. 713, who is looking at this, says, why did you spell premium like this? Just kidding. But really, this is driving me mad. Love you guys. The show is wonderful as usual. Thank you, 719. I also want to give a shout out to 406, who texted and actually sent in an image. I uploaded it. I'm going to put it on the screen here. Says, happening in the state I live in, I never would have cared if not for the Thursdays shows and excellent callers. Keep up the good work. Love you guys, Monica. Monica sent a screenshot from Governor Greg Gianforte, a post with some photos here. And Governor Greg is saying, Montana is leading the way in the race for critical minerals and reducing America's reliance on China. Great to join U.S. Antimony today. as they expand the nation's only antimony smelter right here in Montana.
There it
And
is.
the country's only antimony smelter.
Protect Montana.
That's right. And
the future of our American metaverse depends on Montana, everybody.
And the fact that the only antimony smelter in the United States is just here in Montana, I don't even know if it's built. This looks like a construction announcement or something.
Yeah, that was a breaking ground.
So how serious the geopolitical war fighting is going on right now. Venezuela, Brazil, all the chaos over antimony. It must be done because we don't have our own antimony processing. But of course, here's a few more producers who came in, supported the show with their treasure.
Is that it for executives? We have 2?
Yes, that's it for executives, just the 2. We got some people who came under the executive producer amount. Now, remember, the executive producer amount is $100 or more for any individual episode. Anybody under that comes in, supports the show. We appreciate it. And of course, if you're having trouble getting on the value for value train, if your brain is just trained to the mammon worshiping economy of this world that insists that some sort of transaction must happen in order for value to be moved from one place to another, that's why Cage Rattler Coffee is here to soothe your worries.
Cage Rattler Coffee, where value for value never tasted so good.
Cage Rattler Coffee is coffee roasted, made by Canarians, sold by Canarians to Canarians. Okay, this is a producer who says, I know what I can do. I can make Canary Cry exist for that much longer. And if you're having trouble supporting the show in the traditional way, you can go to Cage Rattler Coffee because a portion of every sale goes to support the show. A story here, I recently told the story about how I hijacked my dad's espresso machine that I was storing for him, changed my life, got the grinder, got the thing, changed everything. No more coffee pods for me. And of course, I just slapped in my Cage Rattler coffee beans that was sent to me for testing purposes. Delicious, so perfect. I ran out of those beans, and I just had a random bag of, it was a sealed bag, some bag of coffee somebody gave me from a local place in town here. And I put those beans into the grinder. I shed a tear now every morning. It's horrible. Look, God bless the local people making coffee here, but compared to the Cage Rattler coffee, it's almost not even coffee. It's abhorrent. So I'm going to need to get myself some more Cage Rattler coffee. And finally, everybody should know that, yes, when I ran out of coffee and tried something besides Cage Rattler coffee, I think Cage Rattler coffee officially turned me into a coffee snob. So if you want to,
you had Canary or Cage Rattler coffee withdrawals.
Yeah, right.
Sound like you were having shakes.
Very sad. Now I've got a whole grinder filled with this trash coffee. I got to go to cageRattlerCoffee.com. So go get it. It's great coffee. Again, it's all made small batch by Canarians for Canarians. It supports the show. It supports Canary families. So go get some at CageRattlerCoffee.com. I don't know if the Coffee Day discount code is still working, but you can try it.
You can try
Coffee Day. Try it. Use the discount code
Coffee Day. Yeah.
Coffee Day. I don't know if it's still going because Coffee Day was on Monday, but if it works, it works. If not, buy the coffee anyways. Next up, we got producer Roderick B comes in. Supports the show.
Thank you.
Upgraded his monthly producership to $33.33 a month for the Canary Cry supply drop.
Nice.
Smart thinking, Roderick B, because we're coming up on the fourth quarter of the Canary Cry Supply Drop 2025. That is when the Canary Cry calendar is sent out to every member. That is when we've got some very cool special things aligned. I cannot share them now, but look, the Canary Cry Supply Drop, people are very happy with it. It's our longest lasting sort of program for supporters of the show on a monthly basis. And you go over there, go to canarycrysupplydrop.com, sign up. And every quarter, which means every 3 months, we send out a package, chock-a-block, with exclusive, cool, useful, fun, flirty Canary Cry News Talk gear. It can be apparel. It can be survival supplies. It can be some fun, we've had challenge coins. There could be some shiny things in there someday.
What kind of shiny things, Basil?
No, I can't say anything more, but
No?
I'm saying all sorts of things. There can be dull things, big things, small things, shiny things. There's things. Okay. So if you want things and you want to support your favorite podcast, go to canarycrysupplydrop.com and sign up. Do it soon because there is a deadline and you want to get more than anything. The Canary Cry calendar is going out fourth quarter. People love it.
Oh, by the way, I did see some sneak peeks of some of the art, and once again, just incredible. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, we gotta remember. Okay, not gonna get off track. We need to be getting those images on the show early. We gotta start.
We gotta figure out a way to get let's do a huge campaign for the calendars.
We gotta do something because people are always sad. They see other people's calendars. People start posting pictures of it, and everybody gets sad that they didn't get one. I know. I'm sorry. I don't know what to do. You gotta sign up for this.
How many do we give out annually, do you think? What was it, a few hundred?
Yeah, hundreds, in the hundreds. Yeah.
Let's shoot for 1,000. 1,000 calendars.
Look, if we had 1,000 people
shoot for the moon.
If we had
the stars.
We had 1,000 people signed up for the supply drop, we wouldn't be complaining about low producership all the time.
Right.
I'll say that. So, that's a good way to get us stop complaining, a good way to get the calendar.
Get your neighbors to sign up. Get your church people in your small group study.
Bounty program. You got to do a Canary Cry. I think we're just describing starting an MLM. We're going to start Canary Cry multi-level marketing scheme. All right. There you go. Thank you, Roderick B. Smart man upgrading his already generous monthly producership to the supply drop.
Smart guy. Thank you.
Next
Roderick
up, we've got the one, the only, the new knight of the Canary Cry Roundtable of Knights and Dames, Sir Cullen Anderson, Hobo of the Americas, coming in for 2332.
Those hidden 33s always. Oop, where's my jingle?
Oh no,
I'm pushing the button. There's no sound.
Oh, that's bizarre.
Yeah.
It's gone. It's dead. Well, thank you for the 2332. He's on a 45 episode streak. Thank you very much, Sir Cullen. 45 episodes in a row.
Yeah, let me see what's going on here. Sometimes, I don't know why, but this USB-C connection, starts to die. And that causes problems. I'm just going to unplug, plug it back in. Let's see if
do we need to start a GoFundMe to get you a new USB cord?
No, I don't think that's the thing. There you go.
There it is.
It's just, I don't know. It's just lame sometimes. Thank you, Sir Cullen Anderson, Hobo of the Americas.
Thank you very much. Caretaker Dan comes in for $14.92. $14.92. Columbus sailed the ocean blue.
Sailed the ocean's blue. Yeah, there you go. All right. Thank you. Who was that?
Caretaker Dan.
Caretaker Dan. Thank you.
I didn't see an email from Caretaker Dan. Hopefully that's on purpose. Sometimes people, when they produce, they will text their producership note. Do not do that because you don't have a name. Like on my side, it doesn't say your name. I can't connect it to you. It's just your phone number. So if you have a note, email it to canarycryradio@gmail.com. Or depending on the way that you donate, there will be a note section to the checkout. Okay, that's it for the producership segment. 1, 2, 3.
You should do the other producers, like the streakers.
Yeah, we are. We're doing the streakers. Yeah. We're going to do the streakers. These are people who come in under $7.77, which does not entitle them to have a note read on the show, but this is usually for people who are on enormous streaks supporting the show regularly. We got Mrs. Tinfoil Hatman on a 176 episode streak.
Thank you, Mrs. Tinfoil Hatman.
Veronica D is on a 515 episode streak.
Veronica D, thank you.
Sir Scott, Knight of Truth, is on a 562 episode streak.
Woo! Sir Scott, Knight of Truth.
Sir Casey is on a 568 episode streak.
That is Sir Casey.
Sir Casey. see the shield knight.
Thank you very much to all of our financial producers. Again, especially to the monthly producers who give us the opportunity to look 30 days ahead and say, okay, I think we can budget out 30 days. We can survive 30 days. You can also produce the show with your time and your talents. Do we want to give a quick shout out to some people who sent in some music?
Sure. Yeah, there's some issues with some of this, but yeah, we did get Sir Marty B did send us something. The Yahoo driving. They did not have any words, so it's a little bit tough to play. Just some music
instrumental. It's a wonderful instrumental. We have to imagine that it has to do with the show or something related to the show. But of course, Marty B, the producer of some of the most timeless and excellent jingles and things like that. You just heard one, the Sir Casey the Shield Knight jingle.
That was actually made by Sir Marty B. So
that's,
there you go.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So
I'm
thank you.
having. Go ahead.
You're having a problem?
Yeah, I'm having a problem getting the Arnie W thing here. I don't know
the Arnie W.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sent this little thing. I don't know why I'm having issues like loading. I've been having issues with our little spreadsheet all day today. Like it's not loading properly and it's telling me that I'm not signed in and there's like all kinds of weird stuff going on. So apologies. I don't know what's going on there, but yeah. So Arnie W came in with some stuff. Jolmes came in a couple weeks ago with some stuff that we didn't play all of it. Some of it confused me, to be honest with you, Jolmes. I don't know if that was,
we might need some explanation.
A little explanation that might help us understand what was going on there. Other than that, I think we're pretty much caught up on everybody. If we did miss you, just send us a note and we'll make sure to take care of sharing things that you provide in terms of art for the show. Appreciate it.
So did you have the files for Sir Marty?
I can't get to it. It doesn't load.
Oh, okay.
Like it literally doesn't load. Yeah. So I don't know what the thing is. I don't know what the problem is.
Okay. We'll upload. Okay. We'll do it the old fashioned way. We'll have to do it again. Shoot. Okay. Well, these have been sitting here for so long. I want to make sure to play them. I see you marking them as done. Let's not do that because we want to make sure to play them.
Okay.
Gotta manage the spreadsheet here. We can't check those ones off yet. All right. Well, we'll have to upload those directly to the back end of the streamer, which is not the most fun way to do it, but we will do it. We will do it because the talent of our producers is the value that keeps this show going. We have producers who come in with their time and volunteer to do things for us, like the timestamps.
Timestampers. Ooh, I was not ready for that. I was looking at the spreadsheet here. The timestampers.
Get out of that.
It's hard work. Timestamp.
Jade Bouncerson, thank you for doing the timestamps for episode 880.
Thank you very much.
By the way,
Bouncerson. Yeah.
Yes. Episode 888 is coming up. I mean, it's not the greatest discount for knighthood, but it is a discount for the knighthood. So
okay, right. Thank you. I meant to say this a little earlier. So we are coming up on 888 for a lot of people, especially new producers. They might not fully understand the Canary Cry Roundtable of Knights and Dames, but for our producers, those who produce the show all at once or over many years or whatever, for $1,000 or more, they're given a seat at the Canary Cry Roundtable of Knights and Dames. Yeah, you might hear lots of Sir Marty, Sir American Hobo, Sir Casey, Sir Scott. We
could just read the list.
These are the Knights and Dames of the Canary Cry Roundtable of Knights and Dames, which you can join when you produce the show all at once or over time, the amount of $1,000 or more. And every 111 episodes is starting on episode 333, 444, 555, 666, 777. We've been running knighthood specials because, of course, a knighthood usually runs $1,000. Back on episode 333, when you were paying 33% of the usual knighthood amount, I think we literally got like 30 people knighted on episode 333.
I think, it was a good chunk of people.
Because the discounts of the $1,000 knighting gets dropped down to whatever the triple digit number is. Now we are up at 888, which is less of a deal than 333. but it's
Look
still
at all those 333s on the list. Look at all these 333
I literally
bandwagoners.
think there's like 30 of them or something.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8,
So
10.
we are at 888, which is, you're still getting $118 off or something, $112 off. It's a $112 discount. I don't know. These knighthood specials have been pretty light since about episode 666. So
Makes sense. There were a lot of 666 people coming in. So,
but if you want to instantly get your knighthood at a bit of a discount on episode 888 or buy episode 888, come in, support the show for $888, and we will knight you. And you can brag about the discount you got. And more than anything, you can brag about being a knight or a dame at the Canary Cry Roundtable of Knights and Dames.
Yep.
We got to figure out. We got to do like what No Agenda did. They found like a new title or a new.
Well, we got the Baron and the Baronesses. That's
No, listen to what I'm saying before you respond. We need to find a new title that is at a lower threshold, because they've been doing their secretaries general. They have the No Agenda secretaries general, which I think was at like a $500, dollar.
We do have the Squire.
Squire, the path to knighthood.
What was that? How did we do that?
I don't know, but we have the jingle.
We have the jingle.
I don't remember the exact thing, but
I forget what it was. That would have been, so many years ago. All right, if anybody remembers how the Squire system works, let us know. Maybe we can dial that back.
Reignite the Squire.
Yeah. All right, so there you go. 888's coming up. We got people producing the show. Jam is heading up the Telegram channel. Adam42 heads up the Discord channel. If you want to join the community, get connected, have the talks you gotta have, man. Go over to the Discord or the Telegram. You can find those links over at canarycry.party. There are currently no meetups scheduled, I think, but we've had lots of threats of meetups. Lots of people are threatening. They say they want a meetup. They're gonna put on a meetup. There's a meetup in Alabama somebody's talking about. There's a North Carolina meetup that I don't know if has happened yet. Meetups are very important. You want to meet. We had like 10, 12 people at the Missouri meetup.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was able to call in, talk to some folks there, and it was a good time. It sounded like they were just about they had just ordered their pizza at the meetup, so I think it was a good time. I had not heard an update since then, but I believe it was a good one. So
well, there you go, folks. All you got to do is pick a time, pick a place, email us at canarycryradio@gmail.com. Tell us you got a meetup. This is where it is. We will tell the world, and you can meet other Canarians in your area. They are there. They do exist. Thank you to Joe for all the feedback. Thank you to Clank for clanking. Thank you to Sir Ike for everything you do, the innumerable ways that you help us. And other than that, folks, share the show. Share it with your friends. Share it with your family. Share it with everybody down at the coffee shop. Bring a bag of Cage Rattler coffee in and just set up like a little French press there right in the middle of a Starbucks or whatever coffee shop you have. And other people will come up. They'll be like, what are you doing? I say, I'm making coffee. This is a coffee shop. And then they say, well, that's not how this is supposed to work. And you go, that's not how the world is supposed to work. Look around you. Nothing is how it's supposed to work. This is a fallen world and you're trapped in the illusion. And then they'll go, and then you go, listen to this. And then you
I want some of what you're drinking.
You put the headphones in their ears. You give them a cup of Cage Rattler coffee, and their eyes are open. The veil is lifted. The light shining out from every creature created by God, with the co-creative participation in the kingdom here on earth. They suddenly see that they've been blind their whole lives, and now they can see, all because of you showing them the podcast. And you should do that, or don't do that, or just do it though, because we need it. This is what we need to do. We call it rattling cages, and all you got to do is walk right up to them, grab them by the cage, and then you shake it.
The end of the world occurred pretty much as we had predicted.
I want to shake things up, stir up some controversy, rattle a few cages. Hey, stop that! You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man, a crusader for the little guy. Leave the bird alone. Never. Rattle a few cages. Rattle a few cages.
The human race will have every opportunity to improve.
And if they don't?
Ask Noah.
That's right. Just ask Noah. This cat has been present every episode for like the past week, and nobody has even mentioned it. Nobody's even mentioned it in the chat. Remember the days when a cat jumped on screen and everybody would just say, "Oh my gosh, cute cat! Wow, look at the cat podcast! Oh my gosh!" Not once, not one mention.
I miss the day when I think it was a different cat jumped on your head.
Yeah, cat on head day.
I think it might be on the calendar.
I think it's on the calendar. Cat on head day. Here's the cat. Oh, look at the kitty.
Oh, look at that.
There
kitty.
you go. Okay.
That's a true October kitty too.
Yeah,
I mean, this is
he's,
right.
He's a spooky cat. He's here to scare away, all the ghosts and ghouls. All right. Night of the Hungry Panda says that he mentioned it. I didn't see it. All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Oh, do you have any last words?
I'm good. Yes. Thank you very much, everybody. Oh, tomorrow, Clubhouse, celebrate Jack Parsons' birthday with Basil.
Oh, gosh. Okay. Here we go. All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. Make sure to tune in next time. But until then, think outside the cage.
This is the United States of America, for God's sake.
I'll keep you warm and safe in my people too.
Remember, reality is an illusion. The universe is a hologram. Buy gold. Buy!
Sadly, the virus itself, particularly the variant called Omicron, is a type of vaccine. That is, it creates both B-cell and T-cell immunity.
And a resounding baka flies through the air across the world. Why are you screaming like a wild bird?
Rattle their cage. You have a lot of people screaming randomly. Why don't you shout? It'll be their call out. You have a lot of people screaming randomly.
Go ahead and...
Why don't you shout?
Why are you screaming like a wild bird?
Value for value. We take no money from corporations, commies, or cartels.
Good man!